Got your Bibles open, please, to the book of Exodus. The book of Exodus. We're in chapter 20, and I don't know whether y'all have noticed that we've kind of been here a little while. My normal slide presentation through most chapters is probably about 35 slides long, and right now I'm in slide 127 for this particular section. So I don't know why that is, but it is. There's just a lot of stuff to try and catch up with here, a lot of stuff to try and bring to our attention and mind out of this, okay? So we were in verse 15 last week, and we covered it. Let's see, buddy, what number you at? Yeah, we can, that's right. We covered the majority of stealing, about stealing, and why today it's gotten to be so common, like most of these things, you know what I'm saying? That, but I wanted to deal with something, two items, two slides on this particular passage before we move into life, okay? It looks like we're spiraling down, doesn't it? So, the worst theft of all, and I want to point this out to you, and God writes this and says, will a man rob God? That's a question. Will a man rob God? Will he?
Yeah.
Will she? We do it all the time, don't we? That's exactly right. Will a man rob God? Yet you have robbed me. But you say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. You are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me, even this whole nation. Bring you all the tithes in the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that shall not be room enough to receive it. Now, this is one of the very few, if not the only, challenges in Scripture where God says, try me. Let me show you what I can do. And he said, if you'll just but try me, I'll show you that I can do something for you that you can't even contain. Okay? Now, we don't much believe that in this nation anymore. It used to be, preachers used to say all the time, we can't outgive God. Well, I don't think we believe that anymore. I think the exact opposite is true. Matter of fact, actually, he said, I'm going to go and make a curse out of your blessings. Now, think about that for a minute. How can prosperity be a curse? But yet, we live in the most prosperous nation on the planet. We have the highest standard of living, bar none. Our poor people call other nations' people poor, because we don't really understand what poor is. But the idea is that we have all these blessings, but yet, in the end of the day, what happens? What happens to the blessings? When God blesses us, what do? We want more. That's the first thing. The second thing we do is to say, didn't I do such a good job getting there? Say that we take credit for it. The flesh will always take credit. In other words, you know what? I'm so smart. Man, I've got a job. I'm so this and that. And I'm so smart at my job. They know I'm worth all that money. Man, I'm going to tell you what. I had a guy that told me, I was in a little old church, and he had more in his personal checking account than the net worth of the church. He could have wrote a check at any time and paid off the debt we owed. And we owed $175,000 when I got there. So the idea is, he said, well, I'm a self-made man. I came to Augusta with $20 in my pocket, and he really was a millionaire when he died. You know how he died? Him and his partner, every payday at the end of the day, would go down to Augusta and buy one of these shotgun houses. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody here know what a shotgun house is? That's when you can fire a shotgun through the front door and it'll go out the back door. Okay? Today we call them a dope house. All right? And he would buy these little rundown places, and they would buy them for $250. And he would buy 1 week. Well, when he retired, he was renting out all these, it was a slumlord, for lack of a better word. Somebody moved out without paying him, and they took the key. So he busted the window out to crawl through the window so he could open the door. When he did, he cut his foot. When he cut his foot, he made it out to his truck, and he bled to death. Because he had a cell phone that was turned off, because his opinion was, my cell phone is for me to call you, not for you to waste my minutes. So for $150, he laid his life down. Don't think your prosperity can't be a curse, because it can be a curse. And today, people will just as easily say, you know, if they'll steal from you, they'll steal from God. And they won't think twice about it. So what is the protection against stealing? Because we know we're all capable of it, and you can sit there and shake your head if you want to. We're all capable of it. Okay? What is the protection against stealing? Now, Bill said earlier, when I asked how many, what do we do when God blesses us over and over and over again? And he said, we want more, don't we? Ooh. Man, I don't even know what I want.
Hang on,
It was working pretty good, wasn't it?
I'll fix it.
Scroll, baby, scroll.
I'll fix it.
There we go. Now that's the third, isn't it?
Keep scrolling it.
Right. The secret to not stealing is to be content with what you have. But now I want you to understand something about this thing, because this concept is kind of foreign. And the reason it is because contentment does not come naturally. Listen to what I'm telling you now. Contentment does not come naturally. Contentment must be learned. And sometimes it has to be beat into you. Say amen. Okay? Well, how do you learn contentment? Well, Paul said in Philippians 4:11-13, he says, not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am to what? Now think about that for a minute now. Therewith to be content, I know both how to be abased. Anybody know what that means? I've been in the ditch, and I know how to abound. All right? Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. Now that kind of sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? He says, I'm instructed that, guess what? I'm supposed to be full, but I'm never supposed to come to a point that I forget what? What it was like to be hungry. Why is that, do you think? Why does that teach contentment? Because you will never be content abounding until you have been abased. Until you know what it's like to eat grits every meal for a year. Until you understand that potted meat and a pack of saltines can make a feast, you will never be content. Because no matter what you have, it will never be enough. And it will never be good enough. Now think about that for a minute now. Think about what God has provided us with, and it's never enough. There are people who say, I got to get my wealth up. I got to get, I know guys right now who are saying, I ought to retire. They could retire easily, comfortably. But you know what they're hanging on to? That golden ring. So that way when they finally do retire, only because they can't go to work anymore, guess what? Within a year they're dead. because they burn themselves out completely up to nothing. You know what I'm saying? All chasing that silver ring. And you know what we found out in 2008? You can have lots of money in the bank. And you can put Oprah in office, and guess what? You may not have nothing before you realize what's going on with it. Don't believe that? We had 8 years of that to learn how that works. Right or wrong? Okay. So the idea is that he said, look, I have to learn what it's like to do without. Now let me ask you a question. Which is easier to be content? When you have nothing or when you have a lot?
When you have nothing.
When you have nothing, it's easier to be content. Why?
You don't know what.
Because Jerry Flower said, you know what? We were the people that the other people called poor. Really? You know, the other poor people looked at them and said, them people are poor. Right? I've talked to a bunch of y'all and said, man, I'm telling you, y'all want to come down to that Wednesday thing. Brother, let me tell you something. You learn lots of stuff down there. And you'll find out that people walked uphill both ways in a blizzard just to get to the chicken house. And then come back and have to go to school. And take their shoes off and walk in the snow because they didn't want their shoes to get messed up. You'll find out that Brother Ron has 1 foot shorter than the other. Because he grew up in the mountains of Tennessee and they couldn't even walk up the hill. It was so steep they had to walk around it. Am I right, Brother Ron?
That's correct.
And you know what they'll tell you? We was poor, but we didn't know it. You know why they didn't know it? Because everybody else was in the same category. And guess what? If they had something to eat, I remember my dad telling me over and over and over again about when they were kids, that family of 6 or 8, if they got a half a case of apples and a half a case of oranges. And brother, that was Christmas. You know what I'm saying? And you didn't hear them complaining and carrying on. And today you can have $20,000 of stuff under the tree, and what do you hear? That ain't what I want. It ain't the color I want. I'll tell you what, I don't want you in my eyes odd. This ain't a name brand. Ashley's not here tonight, so we can pick on her. I remember when she was going to Thompson High up here, and she wouldn't eat in the cafeteria. There wasn't nothing you could do to make that girl eat in the cafeteria. The reason, because all of her little friends didn't eat in the cafeteria. So she was going to take her lunch. Well, Mary, we went grocery shopping, went up there and bought some of them super duper Sam's Colas a couple of years now. She came home from school, looked at them super duper Sam's Colas. She said, "What's this?" "Those are drinks for you to carry to school." "I'm not taking that to school." "That ain't Coke." You liked her. "That ain't Coke." You know what I told her? If you don't carry that to school, you're going to go hungry is all I can tell you. Because I can't afford Coke. I can afford that, and I really shouldn't be buying that. I ought to make you eat lunch. That's what I ought to do. You know what that girl did? She took them cans in the morning before she got ready to go to school, and she rolled them in aluminum foil. Sure did. Rolled them in aluminum foil so you could not tell the brand on that Coke. Now, yeah, we laugh about that, but aren't we all really in the same boat? We are, aren't we? And then when we talk about we don't have enough, right? Guess who's the first one that we rob? God. That's exactly right. Well, I ain't got enough gas to go to work, right? But we'll pay $100 a month to watch TV. Say amen. Pay somebody to get cancer, COPD or emphysema, whatever that is you get. Am I right or wrong?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But then we'll tell God, you ain't blessing me. And God said the whole time, what? I'm trying to make you content with where you are. But we don't hear that. We want to hear what? Lord, are you going to bless me? When we ask if God's going to bless us, what do we say? I got to get me one of them great big old balloon things. Dollar signs. We see dollar signs. That's exactly right. And if you don't believe that, talk to some of these people that are facing some of these tests, and they don't know what kind of cancer they got. And ask them what God's blessing is. And you'll find out real quick, it ain't got to do with money. It's got to do with the people that God puts in your life. But today, we will steal, we will rob from God because we are not content with where we are. We want something better, we want something this, it's not the right color, it's, I need a 2-story house instead of a single-story house. I need, I've got to have a double-decker bus to ride around in because I don't like the little sports car that Grandma bought me. The idea is this, folks. This concept of stealing goes way deeper than we ever thought. Just like the next one we're fixing to deal with, this idea of lying. Okay? And that's the next verse, in verse 16. Somebody want to read that out loud for me?
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Okay. All right. Let me see my man here. I can mess this up. I don't need no help. I can do it. Are we all guilty of this? How often are we all guilty of this? Okay, I'm just asking. Psalms 116:11 said, I said in my haste, all men are liars. Do you think that's a true statement?
Yes.
Probably just means the frequency and the degree. Okay? He says that all men are lying. Lying has come to a point of an art form. It is so common today. And I put this question up, said, is telling the truth tied to a person's character or integrity?
Yes.
Is it? When would we most likely lie?
When we're young.
When we're young? So old folks don't lie.
Not as much. We won't say we don't lie, we just don't lie as much.
We're going to get to that too. Why do you think God would include this in the founding doctrine of civilization? I think we're so prone to do it. Anybody else? Why would God include this in the Ten Commandments? Of all of the things that we shouldn't be doing, why would He put this in here?
Because it relates to our character, integrity, and He was working on it.
Okay. That's very good, Ms. Karen. Y'all hear that? Relates to your character, your integrity.
I paid attention to what you said.
Okay. What'd you say, son?
I think it ruins your testimony too, because a person that hears a Christian lying would be more apt to shut them off if someone the Christian's telling the truth.
Would we most that often lie when we're in trouble? Or if we perceive that we have a threat? Would we lie to save our job or whatever? Would we lie to the police officer and say, gee, what was going on, officer? I don't know why you would be stopping me, ladies. Not me. Fifth Amendment. Okay. I found this little thing right here on the internet I thought was kind of cute. I don't know if cute's the right word for it. So how many people are lying? Okay, I'll read it to you. Lies once every 10 minutes. 60%. Lie every 10 minutes. Obviously, those are fishermen and hunters. Is that not right?
And
Lie
teenagers.
every 10 minutes. Or Georgia fans. This is hiring managers. Found lies on a resume almost out of every 100 put something down that they were qualified to do, then guess what? I can't tell you the number of times that I have talked to people and said, "Are you computer literate?" And the response I get is, "Yes. I know how to tweet, I know how to Facebook, I know how to do all of those social media things, Snapdragon and all the rest of them." Right? So, how many words do you type a minute? I don't know. Would you like to time me with my thumbs? Are you familiar with any of the Office suite of programs? Office who? But they're computer literate. 58% of the people lie on their resumes. How many think lie to their dating profiles? Now this is something y'all don't know nothing about. Now this is at farmersonly.com. And you know, I hate when you see that commercial, you know what breaks my heart? That all the girls that were supposedly in the country are trash. Because they dress like trash is exactly what they look like at that commercial. I asked my wife, I said, when did all the ladies that live in the country turn into trash? Because that's exactly the way they're portrayed. Oh, you can find them down at the bar and all that stuff. I know where some wonderful country ladies are, and you ain't got to go to a bar to find them. But 90% of us say, you know what? I'm about 6'6", 140 pounds. Yeah, you got a foot that weighs 140 pounds. Let me pull out my Walmart snapshots. You know what I'm saying? Embellish, exaggerate, or lie on social media. Almost 70% of the people put on. So when you look on there and you say, gee, so-and-so is going to the Bahamas. It might be lying. That's right, Miss Lee. Do you think they're not telling you the truth? It's social media. Because here's the deal. Think about it for a minute. The reason the internet is so full of ridiculousness and lies is because guess what? Nobody else can check it out. What you're telling people, y'all hear about the, I know you have, and I hate to bring up garbage, but it is. The guy that supposedly served with the special ops people out here on the BOE, Ron, what's the chairman out there?
Cross.
Ron Cross's son-in-law. I've served with these people. I've served that. There's a group of people, veterans, who actually did all of that, and they're saying, dude, we checked your records. You ain't never served with none of these people. You mean somebody's going to check on me? That's why social media is such a lie of faith. Okay? And then finally, how many people are able to detect lies? 54%. Yeah, mom can detect them and dad will beat you out of them. I know y'all can't see this part, so I'll read it for you. It says, on average, women lie about weighing 8.5 pounds less, while men lie about being richer, taller, and better educated.
Can't get much taller.
Now, you know in nature, right? I mean, do you know whether the male or the female turkey has all the plumes and stuff?
Male.
It's the male. It's the male turkey that has it. Why? Because he's better educated and he's taller and he's trying to draw somebody in, ain't he? So he lies about that stuff. And ladies, you know what y'all are after? Y'all are just saying, hey, I'm just so skinny. Skinny as a rail. Is that just Alabama favor? Okay. I don't know. I'd have to see where this came up. But do you begin to understand just how prevalent lying is? I mean, it's almost commonplace. Yes, go ahead.
Even advertisements lie.
Especially advertisers lie. I go you one step further. The swamp is full of liars. And the swamp is full of swamp creatures. It don't matter which side of the aisle you're on. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is, the people that want to drain the swamp can't get enough toehold from people like us who should be writing our Congress people every day saying, you meet term limits, get out. I don't care how good you've been, I don't want to read about you being there 47 years and of all your legacy. Get out. 2 terms, see ya. If you want to sit out a term and try and come back, knock yourself out. But don't build a $3 million war chest, you know what I'm saying? Because you've been up there so long. Go up there a pauper and come back a millionaire. Now, how does that happen? It happens through lying and deceit. It's exactly what's going on. We need to be writing them every day saying, hey, you know what? You people need to start going to work. This Obamacare can't be this hard to do away with. You know what I'm saying? You people are supposed to be the smartest people that we have representing us. Can't somebody come up with something that works? That somebody can afford? But we don't. We sit back, we complain about it, we talk about it, but we don't ever do it. And especially when it comes time to vote. And the reason I know that is because I had the opportunity to be at some of the polling places. That lovely young lady can tell you right there. There would be stuff on the ballot, people never even show up. But yet when it passed, guess what happened? Everybody was all bent out of shape and wrapped around the axle because guess what? That can't believe they did that. Well, where were you at? Well, it was raining. Let's go.
Don't vote, don't complain.
I'm going to tell you what, if you're in a productive part of society, you should never vote. Sorry, this is the way I feel about it. This line is going to drill down to deception, okay? And that's what we're talking about right now. We will look at that next week, if we're willing, and we will look at the results. What happens when we see a nation that is built on lies? And that's where we're at right now. We're always that way, but we're headed that way. Yes, sir.
Several years ago, the Notre Dame hired a coach, and he lied on his resume, and they found him out and fired him. That was several years ago, I don't know if you guys remember. And I thought, why in the world would you, Notre Dame, that's a pretty prestigious school, football coach, he lied on his resume. What, you didn't think people were going to check that out?
Brother Ron, what was that? Was it Tennessee that the athletic director was going to hire that guy from Penn State? Athletic director wanted to hire the guy from Penn State who was an assistant coach out there with Paterno when they were out there. You remember when all that child molestation was going on? He knew about it. You can't be in that organization and not say you didn't know nothing about it. He knew about it. When the people at the alumni Tennessee found out that they hired him, not only did they fire him, they fired the guy that hired him. Should have, sure. You see what I'm saying? But the problem is, and somebody said over here, it is about integrity. And we just don't see it anymore. And I'm going to tell you what, Sunday, I don't know if y'all remember Sunday morning's sermon or not. You get in that pit, you can look, sooner or later, there's going to become an integrity test. Yes?
Actually, I was going to wait till Sunday to bring this up, but we may have some visitors. As y'all know, when we call our pastor search committee, we always bring them in and we screen them and talk to them. We had Brother Clayton in the office, and we went over the Bible and found out exactly where his beliefs was, and he was right in line. We opened the church constitution. The pastor was right in line with us. And one of the members said, "Are you a Georgia fan?" He said, "Go Dogs." Yeah, I think we don't lie to get a job.
But that wasn't a lie. I didn't tell you where the dogs were to go. They went back to Athens with their tails up between their legs.
No, they didn't.
Well, what's the difference between embellishments and lying?
Well, I'm just another humble Alabama fan. Do not forget, we have our finance meeting tonight, but Brian and his lovely wife Christy are going to be here Sunday morning. And they're going to go over their mission trips to India, the orphanages that they're setting up there. We're going to get to see some more pictures of the motorcycle that the Brotherhood purchased. And they are going to be here on a missions service. How about that? And folks, let me tell you something. You don't take a look around you and tell you, we don't need some missions. You know what I'm saying? We need some missions at home. Say amen. You know what I'm saying? Right here in Brasilia. So just be much in prayer, you know what I'm saying, for them. Tell everybody you know to come out and be a part of that. Even the folks that go to other churches, tell them, so look, you can miss one service at your church because you ain't going to go over there anyway for Sunday school. Come on over here. 11 o'clock sharp, okay? I guarantee you, Brian spoke to our Brotherhood before. Brian, I get it right here in a minute, has spoke to us at the Brotherhood before. He is God's got his hand on this couple, their whole family. And I'm telling you, you'll receive a blessing. If you leave out of here and you ain't blessed, your blesser's broke. Matter of fact, actually, you know what, Brother Leroy? We might actually leave the kids in here. I think they need to see that. I really do. So don't forget, Sunday, all right? Those of y'all that are on the finance committee, we have no money, but you can come over there for 5 minutes. So Ms. Peggy can tell you can't spend nothing, all right? And we'll be immediately after service, okay? So anything else? Did I miss anything? I know I did. Anyway, please be careful going home. The roads are wet. You know what I'm saying? And that's what none of us want to get into a mess out there. So we need, and believe me, look around you. We need every one of y'all. So please be careful going home, okay? All right? If you need me in the coming week, please don't hesitate to call upon me. Help you any way that I can. Now, that having been said, let's see. Son, I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, if you close our services in a word of prayer.
Dear God, Father, thank you for being here.